All right, you see how at the bottom it says that it's sharing my screen? See that at the bottom? You see it right here? If you see that go away, please let me know. Okay? That means it's like stopped recording. All right, hi period 8. With my period 5 right now. I'm just recording for you guys for today. So we're gonna go over. We already went over number 1 together. We're gonna go over number 2, and then a problem on the back that's a little different. All right, everybody in here ready? Okay. All right. So number 2 is a little different than what we did with number 1 because they're not giving us any angles. All right. So what we have to do here is find an angle. So I'm going to pick an angle to find. They want me to find angle A. So I'm going to start with that one. So I'm looking for this angle. I'm going to call it theta right now. Okay. So I'm going to use my trig ratios. So I have SO, CA, TOA. From angle A, I have the opposite, which is 9. Do I have the hypotenuse? No. So the adjacent is 12. I don't have hypotenuse, so I'm going to cross out SO and CA. I'm going to use TOA, which is tangent. So the tan of angle A should equal opposite over adjacent, so that's 9 over 12. To do that in my calculator, I'm doing that second button of tangent, so tan inverse of 9 over 12 should equal my angle A. Okay? Or my theta. So in my calculator, I'm going to do second tan, and I'm doing 9 over 12, 9 divided by 12, enter. That gives me that A is, I'm going to round this so it's a whole number. So instead of 36.8, I'm just going to say 37 degrees. Okay. So angle A is 37 degrees. If angle A is 37 degrees, can I find my other angle, angle C? Yes. So if angle A is 37 degrees and B is 90, I know that all 3 angles should add to how much? 180. All 3 of these angles should add to 180. So I'm going to do 180 minus 90. That gives me 90. Then I'll take away this 37. 90 minus 37. What does that give me? 53. So angle C would have to be 53. The last step to solve this triangle, which once again, solving the triangle means we're finding all the angles and all the sides. So the last thing, the only side I'm missing is this one, AC. Now there's 2 ways you could do this, guys, in a problem like this. You can either find the missing side, Layla, up, up. Take your headphones out. Take your headphones out and sit up and pay attention. So I have AC, okay? I can find that one of 2 ways. I could use the Pythagorean theorem, right? Because I have 2 sides on a right triangle, and I'm missing one side. I'm missing that third side. I could use the Pythagorean theorem, or I could use trig ratios to solve, okay? Ariana, can you hit the lights up there? I just realized the board's kind of hard to see. All right. So it's up to you guys which way you want to do. I'll show you how I would do both of them. So first of all, I have everything except for my hypotenuse. So if I was going to use the Pythagorean theorem, which looks like this, my A and B are my legs. I have both of those, so I would plug 9 in for one of them, 12 in for the other, and I'm solving for the hypotenuse C. So 9 squared would give me 81. 12 squared would give me 144. I would add those in my calculator, 81 plus 144. That gives me 225. Then to finish solving this equation, I would take the square root of both sides. What is the square root of 225? So if you don't know it, I would hit second square root, second answer, or type in the 225. The square root of 225 is 15. So that's one way you could find the missing side. AC is 15. You could find it using that Pythagorean theorem, or you could continue with the trig ratios, okay? to continue with the trig ratios, I would look over here at my picture. I want to know this side, so I'm going to call it x maybe. If I wanted to know that side, I would use either one of these angles. So let's pick one. I guess I'll use 53. Across from 53, opposite it, is 12. Now, since you have so much information here, you could technically use any of the trigonometric properties. You could use sine, cosine, or tangent. Okay, it doesn't matter which one you use here because you have so many. You already have almost every side solved for. The only one you couldn't really technically use to find x is the hypotenuse. So you just couldn't use tangent because you need to have the hypotenuse in there because that's what we're solving for. So I'm just going to use sine because I'm going to use opposite over hypotenuse. So I'm going to do sine of 53 equals opposite over hypotenuse, which is x. I would multiply by x on both sides. That would give me that. And then I would divide by the sine 53. And your x should still be 15 when you divide that in the calculator. If it's a little off the decimal, it's just because we rounded before. Okay? So you can solve for that missing side two different ways. I think the Pythagorean theorem's a little easier, but it's up to you. The only thing with the Pythagorean theorem, you have to remember the c is the hypotenuse. Doesn't matter which ones you put in for a and b for the legs, but you have to remember the hypotenuse is always c. Okay? Any questions with that one? All right, flip it over because number 3 is very similar to number 2. I'm going to do number 5. It's a little different, more similar to number 1 that we did. Okay, so number 5, they gave us this angle 57. Okay, I want to mark down what I have here for opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. So opposite angle 57 is 15. The hypotenuse, I have two missing sides. So just like I said in number 1, and for people in period 8, when you're missing two sides, you've got to label them as some type of unknown variable. So I'm going to call this one x and this one y. It doesn't matter which one I call x and y because when I write my answer in here, I'm looking for the answer for RT, which in this case I labeled that x. In RS, I labeled this y. Okay. So in this case, my hypotenuse across from that right angle is my x and my adjacent is my y. And that's in terms of angle R, which is 57. Can I find this missing angle T already? Yeah, because these three angles should add to 180. So I'm going to do 180 minus 90, that right angle, that gives me 90. And then minus 57, what does that give me? 33. Okay, so that missing angle T is 33 degrees. We can already solve for that. Now remember, I would not use that angle 33 in any of my trig ratios to find x and y. I would stick with the 57. The reason, Somebody say something? No, I'm hearing things. The reason I would not use the 33 is in case you added wrong or subtracted wrong here. If you mess that up, you're messing the rest of the problem up too. So I would stick with what they gave you, okay? So now I'm going to use that 57. I'm first going to focus on x, okay? So if I focus on x, I'm going to use a different color just to separate what I'm doing for you guys. So if I'm focusing on trying to find x, I have the opposite is 15 and the hypotenuse is x. I don't know the adjacent. I don't want to have another unknown variable. So when it comes to SOHCAHTOA, I'm going to not use whichever one has an A in it. So, does that have an A in it? No. So I'm not going to use ka and I'm not going to use toa because it has an A in it. So I'm going to use sine. So I'm going to do sine of that angle 57 equals opposite over hypotenuse. So the opposite is 15. Hypotenuse is x. So I have this equation here. Now to solve, I'm going to multiply by x on both sides. That gives me sine 57 times x equals 15. I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to divide by sine 57 on both sides. And that's what I'm entering into my calculator. 15 divided by sine 57, sorry. So in my calculator, I'm going to put parentheses around my 15, divided by sine 57, enter. That's going to give me that x is 17.9. So remember that your x is your RT. So now up here, I'm going to write down next to RT that is 17.9. Any questions with that, how I found that side? Good? Nobody has questions? All right, now I'm going to find side Y. Okay, side Y is right here. For side Y, I'm still going to use the 57. I'm still going to avoid this measurement, this 17.9 that I just found. I'm going to try to stick with the 57 and the 15 because that's the numbers that the problem gave me, just in case I do anything wrong before this step. So from 57 now, and I'm doing a different color again to separate what I'm doing for you. The opposite from 57 is still 15. But now my y is the adjacent. I wrote that backwards. The adjacent is y. So what do I not have now? What? The hype. I don't have the hypotenuse. So when it comes to so, ka, toa, I don't want to use so or ka. I'm going to use tangent. So for this one, I'm going to do tan of 57 equals opposite, which is 15, over hypotenuse, which is y. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by y on both sides. I have tan 57 times y equals 15. Divide by tan 57 on both sides. And then in my calculator, I got to plug that in to find my final answer. So in my calculator, that's going to be 15 is going to be in parentheses, divided by parentheses tan 57. That's going to give me 9.7. So my RS is 9.7. So now I've solved my whole triangle. I found all the angles and all the sides. Any questions with how I did that? Okay, just remember in these two problems, the x and y both ended up on the denominator, which made us do a little more algebra. But sometimes the 15 would have been on the bottom, which makes life a little easier. We just have to multiply on both sides to solve. So sometimes that happens, and that's a little easier. Okay? All right, any questions? We're good? All right, so this worksheet right here, same thing for you, period 8. This is what you're going to be working on today. So you guys, what I want you to do is you're going to finish this. You're going to get this worksheet done for next class, okay? I originally was going to have you finish the worksheets I gave you last time. I think I'm just going to have you do this one because it's more work. So for this one, I'm asking you... Actually, just kidding. I'm going to have you finish this worksheet first. So period 8, you're going to be doing 1, 3, 4, and 6. This class, I already did 1 with you, so you're going to be doing 3, 4, and 6, okay? And then I'm going to have you move to this sheet, okay? And I just want you to get the front side done of this one, all right? Period 8, I'm going to have you do front and back of this because I'm not here with you today at all, so you have less class time. You have more class time in this group. So you guys, I want you to try to get 1 through 16 done. You don't need to do 17. Okay? All right, miss you guys today. Have a great day.